Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. What you want to talk about? Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. Kitchen talk, Lisa, Lopre, JT, and friends. Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. What you want to talk about? Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. Kitchen talk, Lisa, Lopre, JT, and friends.
Lisa, Lorraine, JT, and friends. Y'all ready to cook up some conversation? Come on.
Kitchen talk.
Let's talk.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Hey. Kitchen Talk, CTC.
Conversations that cook.
Yes, they
Back
do.
in the day, we got a full house today.
We have a full kitchen today.
we got a lot of
Everybody's
stress.
in the
Yes.
kitchen. I love it. I love it. Welcome to Kitchen Talk, Conversations That Cook. Thank you guys for joining us so very much. Oh my God. I am so excited about this show. I guess y'all could tell, right? A little bit.
Yeah,
Like,
a little bit.
okay, so I'm going to say this. Next to my French fries, this right here makes me happy.
That's high praise.
This makes me happy.
Oh man.
So let me intro our guests. So shout out to France for hanging out with me for going on 5.5 years at this point. Yeah.
Pleasure.
Yeah. And shout out to our engineer in the background, Jamal. Appreciate you so much. All right, so here we go. So last week, if you tuned in, you got a chance to talk to, I affectionately call her Auntie V. You got a chance to talk to Valencia Kane from Jack and Dot Tax Preparation, and she was dropping some serious nuggets and knowledge. And it was a great show. And I'm going to say back by popular demand.
Yes.
Like more questions were coming. And so I got a chance to see her this week, and we had a brief conversation, and she handed me something. She's like, you need to talk about this on your show. I was like, Auntie V, why don't you just come on the show next week and give us about 10 minutes? And then, you know, I ain't got to remember what it is that you want me to talk about. And so we came up with this idea of having her do just a little 10-minute spot, a chance for people to ask questions. We're not going to take up the whole show, definitely. But 10 minutes of tax tips. And we're actually going to do this from now until what is the tax day? April 15th. Mine have been filed thanks to Jack and Dot Tax Preparations. Hallelujah.
I heard them extending the April 15th to June, so you're not.
Right now it's May 17th, so we're waiting on another extension.
Oh, okay. Well, Auntie V might be tapping in as often as she would like to give us some tips. All right. And so after that, she may stick around, she may have to leave, but we'll just see what that is at that time. But then I also want to introduce our other guests tonight, which are Reverend Liatricia Griffin. She is the pastor of, I hope I'm gonna say this right, New Life. Yes,
That's
New
it.
Life United Methodist It's on the corner of Laura Lee and Monroe Street.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah. Doing great work there. Great work there. And then we also have Dr. Susan Baker, who is the Associate Dean, who we've seen before. She's the Associate Dean of Nursing of the College of Nursing at Florida State University. Go knows I have family, so I go ahead and do that for right now. But
I do that too, but me too.
Me too. I'm gonna read on the trying to tell you.
You like
we can't go that far.
It's
Well, I
all
have to,
family.
you know,
It's all good love.
Yeah, my mom graduated from Florida State and my sister graduated from Florida State. So I got, got to do a little something.
Right.
But you know where the heart is. On the highest of the 7 hills.
yes.
So
All
those
day.
are here with us. And we're going to continue our celebration of Women's History Month and talk with each of these ladies, actually, about women in leadership. And so that's the conversation we're going to get into today. But first, let's have our 10 minutes of tax tips.
Okay, so today I'm going to do yours, what you want to do last, what I talked to you about. But the first thing I want to say to everybody is that everybody who received unemployment compensation in 2020, everybody's trying to figure out how they're going to get their extra money because they know the laws changed and all of that stuff. The law did change. So this president is giving a reduction in the amount of unemployment you received by $10,200. So if your unemployment is $15,000, $10,200 is going to be wiped away and not be considered income.
Oh,
Wow.
And because of that, that is going to change the entire tax return.
Wow.
Most people are going to get more refund because of that. Because once the AIG drops, then of course your refund goes up. So this is what the IRS is asking us to please tell the world. Please do not send in an amended return in order to get this additional funds. Because if you do, you're going to lock up your original file. You're going to mess up what you originally put in, and you're going to stagnate getting that credit. They're going to do it automatically. They're going to tell you when they're going to fix it, how they're going to fix it for you. You have to do nothing but be patient and wait. That's all you got to do.
So if I already filed, I don't have to do nothing else. I just got to wait for them to fix it.
Wait for them to fix it. So let's say if you have not already filed, when you file, your credit reduction is automatically going to be calculated for you. You again have to do nothing. Because you're going to get yours off the bat because you haven't filed yet. The law has already passed and gone into effect. So all you have to do is file. Whatever that refund is for you. It's going to show the unemployment amount, but it's only going to show a taxable amount on this side. $10,200 of that is not going to show on the tax side. So you're already going to get yours. So again, do nothing.
Do nothing. Trust the government to handle it.
You might as well. You got to trust them for this English you're getting and don't know where you're getting. You might as well. But that's gonna be.
Wow.
So that's the big thing.
That's good news. I guess I didn't have unemployment, thank God. Hallelujah.
But you wouldn't believe how many Americans do. Here's a quick tip to that. All of you Americans that have unemployment and trying to claim a business, please let's not do that. Because if you told the government I did not have any income and I took your unemployment, and then you want to file a business tax return, not gonna be good, people. They don't believe me, but I'm just telling them up front, not gonna be good. Because how did you tell Mr. Government, hey, I don't have a job, I'm gonna take your money, but I'm gonna file this business return to get some money? Those two things don't go together.
They gave money to small businesses.
No, well, I mean, all of these people who want to be the Schedule Cs and these lawn services and who want to do this because they got their dependent children, they want to get their earned income credit. But you took all of these people unemployment money saying I didn't have a job.
Wow.
You filed that saying I got a job, or I had a job, or I earned income. You screwing yourself up.
Oh,
Gotcha.
So look at the other side of that. And everybody I consult on that, they said, but I could have done this in January, February. I say you could have approved it. Now, I'll find what you wanted. I'm gonna take your money, no problem. But when the government say I want my stuff back, please don't come to me because I'm telling you not to do it up front.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Wow. Very interesting how we try to, is it beat the system?
Yeah.
The
system gonna get you every time. So you gotta learn how to go to the edge of the table and just don't fall off. I mean, that's you gotta learn how to do that. So here's the other thing, Lisa. All of these people with dependent children, and the news keep telling you that there's $3,000 per child that's available. That is not true.
Oh, wow.
If you know the child tax law, it says on your current tax return, the child tax law is already giving you $2,000 worth of credit. The last of the credit out of two minus 3 is 1. You only have $1,000 somewhere to look forward to getting credit for. You don't have another $3,000 to get credit for. And that's the misconception that everybody is thinking. I'm going to get $3,000 a child. No,
right.
You're going to get a seat at the house and a good sit down spot. That's all you got to get. Because there's no $3,000 out there per dependent child to get. Child tax credit is already $2,000 worth of credit. Right. They saying 3. If I do this, I only got this left.
Right.
So there's no $3,000. And that credit has not finalized and will not be looked at again until June or July. So if they look at it now, they can sit down at the house again and wait because that's not coming. They got to fix unemployment first before they worry about them people with them children.
Wow.
Wow.
You know, people don't got enough money. They got stimulus for everybody on their tax return, $9,000, $10,000. They got a $9,000 tax return, and they already broke. So they need to sit down for real anyway. I don't know what they're doing. They got I mean, I'm with $10,000 and $15,000 refund, $9,000 and $10,000 stimulus, and call the next day. Say, where my $1,400? I say, call them people who gave it to you. I didn't issue that. I don't know what that's.
Right.
So it's a lot of that crazy. Any questions about that?
It is so much going on.
Yeah.
This year is really hard. There's a lot of people is just trying to beat every system there is and don't know that system is going to come back and get you.
Yeah.
Just do it right the first time. Do it right the first time.
You're not going to beat it.
Yeah.
So this is something for everybody to look out for. This is big, big, big. FEMA is starting April the 1st to allow people to put in an application to be reimbursed for funeral costs for COVID-related deaths only.
Big. That's big.
I looked at it. It looked like it's 3 simple parts. Prove the funeral, show the expenses, and show the death certificate. Right now, that's all they're asking for.
There's not too much expenses because, you know, we weren't barbecuing and sodas and all that.
They want to see what it costs you to bury that person. They want to see the documents from the funeral.
Okay.
They want to see the death certificate. So they want to see now. My concern is this: are you going to have to prove that you physically had to pay for it and didn't have insurance?
Wow. Yes.
That's my question. Now they didn't tell us that part, and they didn't put that in the documents. So that's the part I'm more concerned with. I don't want people to do it just willy-nilly saying, oh, it's out there. What am I getting myself into by doing this and not having all the proof that they may come back and ask me for? So once it come out April 1st, please just research it. It's on irs.gov. It's going to be on the SBA site. It's going to be a few places for you to actually see it. But research that before everybody just apply for it. But it is big when it comes to FEMA is wanting to reimburse the total cost of COVID funerals.
Wow.
Wow.
That's big. That's big. I'm hoping that a lot of people out here take advantage of that if they can.
Yeah.
Because we've had a lot of people passed away due to COVID. So hopefully this will help out if they had to come out their own pocket on top of dealing with not working, kids, food, all of that, is compounding. So hopefully this is a little bit of a breather for people who really need it. That's the thing. We got, things out here for people who really need it, but then we have people who take advantage of the system when they really don't need it.
Don't need it.
Yeah.
So what happens, Auntie V, if I didn't necessarily have the funeral? So
you have to have incurred some cost.
Okay.
You're not going to just give you the money without proving you incurred a cost.
So even if I want to do like a memorial service later,
whatever it costs you to get that taken care of, then there's a cost. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because most of them was done through chapel services or graveside services or cremation services. That was a cost. So they're looking at what it costs you. So everything is going to go according to the cost.
Don't forget to add in your Zoom account because that's a cost.
That's a cost.
And that's a cost.
It is a cost. Live stream, all of
that. Live stream is a cost. So.
Wow. Thank you, Auntie V, for those tips. Oh my goodness, that's even more than what you told me on Monday when I saw you. Wow.
Everything happened by the day. It's going fast. I told you it's changing by the minutes. So I can
change by the minutes.
Tomorrow I got something absolutely different in the same situation.
Wow.
So yeah, they got a lot of reliefs out there on taxes this year for COVID. If your 1099 money is a COVID, now they have a 7002, which is if you had a child with COVID and you had to take off work, you now can, like you had to use your vacation time, you can recoup that now on a tax return this year because of COVID. So they got a lot of stuff out there because of that.
We need to get this word out.
Yeah.
That's big. I know parents who actually had to take off because of COVID. They had to stay. I got family members who had to do it. So I gotta share that. I hope they didn't do their tax. What if they already did their taxes?
You can always amend on that stuff. You can always go back and amend. They have something new this year called a mirror. Like if everybody's used to what an amended return is. But now if you do some corrections to a tax return in the same tax year before the filing deadline, you do what is called a mirror. You don't do an amended return anymore. On the top of the tax return, it's a code mirror that you put on it. You have to highlight it in yellow. So it's some rules to the craziness, and it's a whole nother 1040. And you mail the 1040 in. And what that does is the one they have here, this one just wipes it out and it just becomes the new one.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, a lot of rules. I'm wishing, that's like I told you last week, I'm wishing you the best.
I'm catching it. Believe me, you.
Praying for you.
Yes, goodness, because now it seems like you ain't gonna be finished till June if they talking about May 17th.
Well, they better get themselves together because she's going on vacation May the 14th. I heard that. She's not gonna be there to see him on May the 17th.
Wow, thank you so much.
Yes.
Listen, if you want information, this is the website jackanddots.com. So spell out that dot and then put the period.
Info@jackanddot.com.
No, this is your website though, right?
Oh, that's the website.
Okay.
So you know I know, right?
What was the guy's name that we had to first?
Ron.
Ron know everything. That's who knows.
Ron know it all. Yes, Ron do all of that. Ron do none of that. I don't know. Ron do the marketing, the social media, the making up stuff. I don't know none of that.
Yay. Thank you. That is very helpful. Again, I think you should be on as much as you want, especially during until tax deadline, because this is stuff we didn't even know. Like you said, it's changing constantly.
Yeah.
Constantly. Wow.
I just don't like how the news put so much out there. and misinform people. I just think that is a bad thing, because then you have people calling these officers saying, where is my? Well, it's not yours. It's not there yet. It's not final yet. They haven't done it yet. We don't know, so that's the part I don't like about it.
Right. And then you have so many people. I mean, it's a great need. So when you hear it, it sparks your interest, and you like, oh, if I get that, then I could do this or I could do that.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you. All right, let's dig into this. And I know this, we about to sizzle for real right here. I already know that the Rev got something to say.
Come with it.
I already know. So when we talk about, I love the fact that we celebrate. I mean, we even said this with Black History, but I love the fact that we're celebrating women in this way. And I remember saying to France, I want to make sure that you and JT are on here as well, because what I found is a lot of times when we have these talks, there are no men in the room. And I've just recently sat in on one, right? And I'm sitting there thinking, how are we changing the culture if we just talking to each other? And it's no men in the room. And we're talking about.
I'm always in the room.
You are always in the room. But I was just like, you know what? We have these discussions. We talk about our triumphs. We talk about our challenges. We talk about the things that we're doing and how exceptionally women lead. And it's like no men in the room. And it just feels like it's a us and them. It's a us and them. It's a us and them. And I don't really want it to be that way.
That's not how it should be either. That's not how it should be.
Right. I wholeheartedly believe in shared leadership. Wholeheartedly agree in that across the board. But we've had this discussion too before. There are places where, yes, you need to take the lead, or yes, I need to take the lead, depending on our strengths and weaknesses, right? So, but when we dig into women and leadership, what has been your experience? Let's start there. What has been your experience? So a little background would be Reverend Scriven's, of course, from an educational standpoint, as well as the religious sector, okay? And then Dr. Baker from healthcare and education, because she's in both. So what has been your experience with women in leadership? And then, of course, Auntie V with entrepreneurship and owning your own business. All right, don't all y'all talk at one time. Let's go. Let's go for the real. Let's get the fire started.
Come on, Pastor. You first. Come on, Pastor.
Woo! All right. So I will say the greatest pushback has been in being a pastor, because we're still not accepted, right? Because men, you know how they say, which is not my theology, but it is out there. And so that's been a bit of a pushback. However, I will say that in my personal experience, I found that when I walk and be authentically who I am in all of my radiant essence, the stars align, the universe opens up, and I can do what I need to do. And so it hasn't really been about setting out to be a leader. It's been setting out to be the best me I can be. Mm-hmm. And as that happens, other things begin to line up. And so when I'm busy, I don't have time to think about the pushback. Because while you're pushing, I'm busy doing something, right? So my experience has been that way. As I have just lived into who I am, the stars align.
Nice.
I think for me, it's the biggest pushback is
don't make me have to prove to you that I'm worthy or believable, or, it's like my credentials are the same as your credentials. So don't make me have to do the extra work because you think I'm not believable. So it's like, so what is it about it that makes you think I'm not believable? Because when you look on paper, everything is the same. So what's the difference? And why do I have to go the extra mile to make you believe that I can do this work? So
wow.
That's one thing. I think the other thing for me, being in nursing, which obviously is a predominantly female profession anyway, but I am not the spokesperson for all African American women in nursing. So when I came to FSU, I was the first African American administrator in nursing in the history of the College of Nursing, which is absurd. I mean, it's great, but it's absurd.
I agree.
And so, but that was in every newsletter, and I'm like, enough already. and so those two things for me are sometimes frustrating and almost distracting from the work if I allow myself to buy in to that and not just do my work, and so to me, those have been the things that have annoyed me just a bit.
Definitely. Auntie V, you want to chime in?
Pushbacks. Quite a lot of them. Mainly, I have had the most opposition as being a woman and being a woman of color in this industry, because nobody thinks that you can, or or you understand. It's just hard, and everybody pushes you. Men especially push you because they don't want you to be able to advise them or guide them. So you have to jump a lot of extra hoops in order to make them understand that you are absolutely worthy. So I have a hard time with that. I have a hard time with people wanting to compare me with other people. So here's how I beat that opposition. Everything, when it came to my company being promoted, I promoted a white person. They don't know I'm black till they walk in my door. They do look at me like, oh, hey, that's me. But that's how you get them in the door. Now, as the years went on, I gradually changed that to the three of us that's there. And now they really see people of color. But when I got started, that was not an option. If I was not of another color, you was not coming, because you didn't believe me until I was that other color. And when I had to prove I was very knowledgeable, study very hard, degrees, have every kind of IRS, whatever, then I became a person that they wanted to listen to. But most people didn't know I was this color till they got to my desk. Because they was waiting on the lady to come out and wait on them. Well, ma'am, that is her right here. That's her.
I love it. I
think that's a struggle that a lot of women have, but it's not a new struggle. I think African Americans had to fight through this struggle, and now women are going through the struggle in terms of, I got to prove myself first before I can walk through the door. As you guys know, one of my favorite games is chess, and I wrote a book about it. Love to play it, but it's more about the life skills. And my favorite piece of that is understanding the power of the queen. So it's kind of odd to me how you have men, no matter the color, don't understand how powerful women are and how much they can contribute to the game. But we keep them on the sidelines, or we let them do the work and we get the credit for it. So I saw this recently and I said, wow, a number of women who helped these great, I would say, I wouldn't even say great. They helped these men achieve Nobel Peace Prize status, but it was through their work. And I'm like, wow, that is, and I was surprised, always a woman somewhere pushing it through. So I'm like, man, but they're finally getting their kudos. And that's what I was like, wow about, that they are getting the kudos that they deserve for doing the work that they did, even going back to the civil rights movement. Dr. King wasn't in there by himself. They had so many great women who was putting in the legwork, the night shifts, the day shifts to ensure everything was moving smoothly. So the struggle continues.
It does continue. It does continue. It's interesting that you brought up about getting the credit. We recently had an event, and our speaker said that as a leader, sometimes you have to not want that so much, not be worried so much about getting the credit versus making the change. So getting the change that needs to be done versus getting the credit. And I agree with that to an extent. But here is my opposition to it. It's not so much about the credit as it is sometimes a blatant disrespect.
I agree.
So I know that times need to change, and I've felt this mostly in the church, and some other places. I would have an idea, it gets dismissed. Man comes, says the exact same thing. Oh, that's a good idea. It's to me, it's not. I don't need the credit, but I need you to respect me. It's just a blatant dismissal and disrespect, and that hasn't just been in the church. Even with doing this show, and I think sometimes that men do it, and I'm not saying France. Let me just put that out there. But I think sometimes men, especially of a certain era in time, they do it, and it's so automatic for them that I don't know whether they don't realize or they don't care or it's just second nature. But I've experienced, even in doing this show, I would say something and then a man will come back, say the exact same thing. And I'm like, wait a minute. First of all, it's my show.
That's number one. Let's get that right. Let's get that right.
But now, here's the other part to that. If I were to say, first of all, it's my show, then I'm being the B word, or I'm being this, or I'm being that. No, first of all, it's my show. I am the creator. I am the producer. So, but I shouldn't have to say that for you to hear me. So that's part of it for me, is just the disrespect of it, just the dismissal of you not hearing me. So I don't have to get the credit. It's not about that. But I don't want to be dismissed either.
I kind of agree and disagree with that, because I was just watching Hidden Figures again, and I love it. Here's some women who did some amazing work, but was not really credited up until later in their career, right? They changed the game, not in just terms of space race, but in terms of how African Americans were being dealt with on the base. Just that dynamic. To me, should have been a celebration. So I do think the credit should be given where the credit is due. I mean, as a man, if I do something, yes, I want my voice heard, and yes, I want it to be right for the right reason, but I also want the credit for it, right? And I think my favorite part of the movie is when they gave her credit in writing, right? So she did the work, and she was able to put her name at the top of the page. And I think that's what it really comes down to. I think that's where you do get the respect. Going back to what you were saying, Lisa, I think the respect comes in that way too.
It takes a minute though, and it should.
And that's especially relevant in nursing, because it's like, for us, it's like, look, this is our playground. We own the playground. We're letting you play here, minority person who is male. And so for you to walk in and act as if you discovered the playground, no, we were here before you got here, and we're letting you play here. So for us, it's even more relevant that the disrespect is even more painful, because it's like, we own the playground. And now all of a sudden you walk in the playground and act like this is your playground. And so that's why we have a problem.
Yeah. In my other life, I was a math professor, so you speak in my language, France. One of my fave movies. And I did recognize, and I was also a middle school teacher for a short period. Men and women are often socialized still very differently. Men are socialized to speak up, to say it. Women often are socialized. We think it's cute to wait. We think it's more spiritual, it's more proper, all of these things, especially when we begin to bring religion and our theological perspectives to the table about who's closer to godliness, who's the head, who's, all of this stuff, and the embedded consequences, right, of believing those things. And so one of the things I find very important in my life, in my ministry, is to bring out the femaleness of the divine that was there in the beginning. So if I was there in the beginning, you don't get to try to erase me now, because there's so many things I can say about that. But let me say right quick, one of my faves is in Proverbs 8. And around verse 20 something, wisdom begins to speak. And she speaks in the feminine gender. We use the pronoun she. And she says, I was there in the beginning before anything was made. And pretty much is saying, so without me, nothing would have been made. In Hebrew, we call her hakma. But when we get away from using feminine pronouns, she, her, hers, when it comes to divinity, then it speaks to how we then see ourselves and the way we become socialized to allow other people to take the forefront when we were always co-created on this equal plane.
Right.
And that becomes the issue.
That truth.
Well, great point, because Lisa kind of said that earlier. Here we are celebrating Women's Month, but we don't have the men in the building. And for me, it's really about understanding how do we work cohesively, connectively, celebrate each other. It's not about him, her, first, second, third. It's really about celebrating the work, the talent, the skills, the love that you bring to this world. And when we get past that, then we could do so much more greater works. But, as I stated earlier, it's a work. It's a work. So going back to what Lisa said, we still got a lot of work to do.
We got work to do.
And it's unfortunately, it's been ingrained in our system, right? So from slavery on up to now, we were talking about this in terms of the civil rights movement. Not even before that, just taking away the black man and the black women's union, where it was equal. And then now you separate us, and now we have an issue with who's leading and who's not, when you should lead, when I should lead. I think, again, when we could get past that and start celebrating each other for our uniqueness, for our gifts, for our talents, regardless of, our gender, then we would do, again, amazing work.
Well, I mean, it's good work to be done. It's plenty of good work to be done. It's plenty to put our hands to.
Correct.
And while we're talking about women in leadership, oh my God, what if the women just sat down? I believe the world would stop.
One of my former pastors said, if the women left the church, he's going right behind them.
Hey, right. I mean, again, every great person who has won, and this is beyond just them, right? Who won the Nobel Peace Prize. Any great leader you can think of had a woman working next to him side by side, not just but probably multiple women doing the work, whether it's them helping with the day-to-day or helping with their kids at the house. Right? There's always some woman in the field making sure that things run smoothly. So without you guys, the game would be harder to play. As Lisa knows, with our chess games, without that queen on the board,
Wouldn't be no game. Wouldn't be no game.
Nah, the game still goes. The game is still going to take place, but it's just harder to play. It's just harder to play the game. I want my queen next to me, right? So again, that's going back to what I said. We have to understand that we need to celebrate each other, right? So when they ask, well, what's the difference between the king and the queen? Well, no, it's really celebrating that person for their individuality, their gifts, their ability to make change. So I don't want to play a hard game, just like the pastor, Miss Baker. I would leave with him too. I'm out of here.
So let me ask this question. Why do you think, or what would make us kind of shrink back? So I know that there are plenty of women that would want to speak up or would want to take lead or do have leadership skills. They call me bossy, but I actually have leadership skills. But what makes us, just kind of take that step back? Like, you know what, I don't want to get in this fight, or I don't want to, or let me just do what they say. What is it that makes us kind of pull back? What, in your opinion?
I will wait for the ladies to go first.
Smart man.
That's why I'm still here, Miss Baker. I'm still in the game.
I still go back sometimes to socialization, sometimes insecurity, but I would still say socialization more so. The models that we see of women who have been esteemed for appropriate behavior that looks like that. Because certainly, as you just said, Lisa, if I'm being called bossy, right, I don't want to be called that. I want to be understood in a certain light. So let me put forth the characteristics that other people are looking for. I think it's sometimes hard for people to be the first one to just step on out there. And so, and sometimes it's because there are other rude people that just decide they're going to speak up in front of them anyway. And that fight to just say, nah, I'm speaking. Did somebody say that recently in a debate? Did somebody say that I'm speaking?
I Scriven Harris said,
I'm speaking. And so sometimes we just need to say, I'm speaking, and say it in a way that honors the sacredness of our own voices.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we hear other people's voices as more important than ours. And until we understand the sacred worth of our own voice, we will allow other people to speak.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. I think too, there's this misperception that my assertiveness negates my femininity. And that's not the case. That if I am being assertive, if I am being forward, if I am being the one that initiates the project or the conversation or whatever, I'm perceived as being less than feminine. And I think it's that misperception that sometimes makes us step back and not want to be the one who initiates a certain thing, a topic, a conversation, or the one who starts the conversation.
Wow. Oh, our voices are sacred. Who's that handsome guy?
That's my boo right there. That's my
boo. So, Jamal, can you put up Kim Black's comment? I think this is good too.
Yeah.
We pull back so men can feel like men. Oh my goodness!
Wow!
Oh my goodness!
So
are we not concerned to the point of we don't want to demasculate because I'm gonna stand up in my truth or stand up in my power? That's enough to demasculate you?
Well, some men feel demasculated by that, right? So Ms. Scriven's kind of said it right. You still need to be in your light, and do it in a way that you shine, not in a way that puts the man down. And I think sometimes women, to share that light or to share their voice, they may do it and it hurts the other person. I'm not saying that happens all the time, but I think it happens enough so that the guy feels threatened by his own masculinity. But what Ms. Black put down was what I was going to say. And we talked about one of my favorite poems. Sorry. Our deepest fear. Our deepest fear is that we are not inadequate. We are powerful beyond measure.
Yes.
And that's the thing. I need to celebrate that power. And again, that's why I love Black History Month. I love Women's Celebration Month, because we got to celebrate that power. And it's not just the women who should be celebrating. We should all celebrate that. And I think the reason why women shrink down is because they are afraid to shed that light, because it might outshine somebody else and he feels a certain way about it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It does. Right. It does, but it doesn't.
Get that together.
I agree.
But just imagine when both of those lights are on.
That's what I said.
It's not to outshine your light.
Right.
Exactly. My light is to add to your light, and your light is to add to my light.
Right. I'm not trying to dim you. I'm trying to make you brighter. Yeah.
If you got some darkness and my light come on and you get mad by that,
I agree.
But isn't it also the person? Because if a person has a power struggle or has to always be in power,
correct,
then her having a voice is going to be a problem, because he wants all of the power. Or flip it around. If she's a person that wants to be in the power and then she down him, or her tone or her conversation or whatever makes him feel little because of what she have to say. So it has to be an even playing field, and nobody has to want the power, but they want to be equal in the whole thing and want to be able to uplift each other. Without that, it's never going to work.
Ms. V, you saying exactly what I was going to come back up with next, which is I've been on the other end of that, where I was with, let's just say I was working with a alpha female who wanted the power, that was her thing. I need to be in full control, and you know what? You need to follow what I say. So my voice doesn't count, because if it was the other way around, I would want to hear what you have to say. I would want to know what's going on. So again, we could do so much better when we work together versus pulling each other down. I want you to shine as bright as you can. Why? Because it's gonna make me look good. You're right.
So you're not just happy for me shining. You want me to shine because it make you look good.
Yes. It's for me too.
How selfish is that?
And that's what we need to be. Because again, you want me to be my best too. Why? Because it's gonna make you look good. Again, when we all do good, we make the world better.
Sure.
But again, we don't want that person to shine. No, not you. And again, unfortunately, it's on the other side. Now, there are instances where women do that because they have the power or they work their way there to the top. Well, I'm not going to hear what you got to say because I got to fight just to get my word out. So I got to be extra aggressive. And if that means me belittling you or taking down your light, so be it. Men have been doing it over and over again. So it's like natural, as you stated earlier. Whatever. I didn't want to hear her voice. Luckily, I was raised in a family where you had to hear everybody speak. So everybody had a chance to say what they had to say. And again, for me, the key word here tonight is respect. Because if I respect you and I respect the light that you bring, how much more can we do?
Yeah.
How further can we be?
I see it on you. Go ahead. Go ahead.
You know what? I don't even know quite what I want to articulate, but let me just throw something out here. It's interesting because part of what makes this discussion difficult is that when men got to have all the light and shine, all of this balance conversation wasn't on the table.
Oh, it's not. It wasn't.
And so then when the pendulum begins to swing, all of this balance conversation happens. Not that it isn't appropriate, but sometimes it is used to deflect the attention back to the center because we can't stand to not be the center. Right? And so, yeah.
So you hit points in terms of the pendulum turning or flipping.
The pendulum swinging. So I think that sometimes to bring something to balance, if the pendulum has been here for so long, it's got to swing far before it comes back to the center. Because if we go from one extreme just to the center, it's going to stay off balance. And so I'm saying that sometimes folk need to get their feelings out of it just a little bit, allow that pendulum to swing and understand that that's what equity looks like. It don't always look like fairness. Sometimes it looks like it's my turn to shut my mouth just a little bit and go ahead and allow the power to swing a different way.
Well, to me, that is part of the balance because, again, I want to hear your voice. I think that's where we kind of mess up on in terms of we wanted to swing right or we wanted to swing left. Now, when it was right, it was wrong anyways. Now, if it goes left, it's still wrong. We need to get it to the place
or what if it's not always right and wrong? It becomes, what does equity look like? We understand it when it comes to racial disparities. We don't always get it the same way depending on what side we're on when it comes to gender inequities. What does equity look like? Which is a little bit different than something being equal.
I agree. I agree.
And I think you're right. If the pendulum has swung left for so long, it has to swing right a long time before you gonna get some equity. Let's just be real. The pendulum has swung left for a gazillion years.
A gazillion.
And so now,
a gazillion.
So it needs to swing right at least for half a gazillion so we can get
the year of the woman.
But then we wouldn't have equity. We wouldn't have equity. Equity means that you're at the table, I'm at the table, we can talk. I'm not just inviting you to the party. You are now a part of helping build the party. So
sometimes equity means though, if you've held this power for so long, I can willingly relinquish mine. Not that I view you as taking it. I'm going to willingly relinquish some of it as an exercise of understanding that that is what it takes. I'm going to get my ego out of it. I'm not going to project foolishness onto you that you just want to say, you don't want me to say nothing. No. Sir, ma'am.
That's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. I want to hear your voice. But at the same time, I think it can't go where you are now doing what the oppressor did. You see what I'm saying? So you're like, okay, I don't want to be oppressed. And now you are the oppressor. So we got to be careful in terms of, what that word means, equity, and understanding that fine line is probably the.
So let me push you, friends. Let me push you. Because sometimes, when we think of all of these, for example, anti-racism discussions, people feel oppressed because they've never had to relinquish anything. And so now you have folk using the term oppression, when it is something that is leading us somewhere. And so that's why I hesitate but I think you're right. You know, definitely all the voices need to be heard. We need to do all of that. And sometimes we have to do the inner work that says, I can, that there is strength in allowing the other person, sharing the mic with the other person.
Yeah.
This is not diminishing me.
That's what I disagree with.
Okay.
Well, I know where you're going, but I want to clean it up or clarify it. Verse from my perspective. How you gonna clarify
what I'm saying?
From my perspective.
You mean you want to add to it?
Yes.
You want to add to it?
I do, but I want you to help clarify it if I'm wrong from my viewpoint.
Okay.
Because yes, we want to share the mic, but I believe that sometimes you got to take the mic. Take the mic, Miss Scrivens. You got to be the one to lead.
Oh, no. Yes, I'm saying, but when I snatch the mic, you can't simultaneously be over here running your mouth about, look, she done took the mic.
Exactly.
I'm saying, right. I am saying to willingly relinquish it and understand that she is taking the mic and she should have it. And I'm not going to try to snatch it back.
That's what I want to say. I wanted everybody I wanted it to be clear. That's what I want. I want to be clear because, you know, when people say, oh, we're going to share the mic, okay, you had your 5 minutes and let me get my 10 minutes. No, right now, if Miss V is the person who knows taxes, then she need to be the one on the mic. That I do not need the mic.
Right.
Sunday morning, when it's time to give the service, you know what? Scrivens is going to, that's not my time to take the mic. In the hospital, we're talking about the nurses. Miss Baker, you got the mic. It's not our turn to say, okay, you only have it. It's not even fair to give it to you for a few seconds and say, you got your time, let me get it back. And that was going to be really my last point of the evening, is that we are celebrating Women's History Month, but it's coming early. We're celebrating Women's History Month. It don't mean that the women's history should stop, right?
Right.
Every day we need to be working towards pushing the objective, which is equality in terms of letting her lead. You got the mic. Take it.
So here is another thing. Two things with that word let her. Like you got to give permission.
Exactly. She leading.
She leading. You ain't got to let her. Number one.
That's why I said we got to make it clear. You leading. Ain't no let. You leading right now.
Okay, clean that up, friend. Come on, let her lead. No, ain't no let.
I agree.
So the other thing is, we have to understand if we could get men, if we could get our racial climate, if we could get all of this together to say, just because I'm in this position does not mean you lose your value.
Exactly.
We are both valuable.
Yes.
In the relinquishing of the power, that is just giving air to my power. That ain't stripping yours.
Correct.
And I think that is the biggest thing.
What
He in the hot seat, Sam. He's here in the hot seat.
Listen, I love this seat. Lisa know it. I will stand in the hot seat. But I'm gonna stand for what's right? Regardless of what people think. And again, the key word, they just put it again, values.
Values.
You gotta understand that.
We all have value.
We do. We all bring something to the table.
And you know, I want to I think that as a pastor, I will say the church has done a disservice to women historically. And so sometimes we buy into the wrong narrative. And I remember, I'll share this, when I first got married, right? My idea of being, you know, a great wife. And I remember one day, Lisa, you may have heard me say this. I remember one day my husband said to me, he said, babe, either you're going to submit or be my equal.
I was just
thinking both ways. And so because of my upbringing, my thought was, I gotta submit. But what he was advocating for, even before I was an egalitarianism that says iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
And I needed the Spirit to speak to me in a way that says, nah, I've called this union to be, and it's not about a hierarchy. It's about the two of you walking together so iron can sharpen iron.
Yes.
And when I don't understand my place in this thing, then I relinquish the power that the divine has placed on the inside of me.
That
and
you
we
have.
teach. You said what?
Yes, it's your power. It's your power.
It's my power. He ain't letting me have it. You know, it's not, it is already on the inside, like we talked about the shine. And when we both, and so I lament that we have done and continue to do a great disservice to women in that regard. And part of it, I'll go back to it, is by refusing to use a female pronoun.
Yeah.
When we relate to the divine.
I would
go ahead, France.
You know, I would also state that it's women too. So
that's the
problem.
It was me.
That's correct.
It was me, and some of the biggest pushback when I have stepped into it and said this has been from women who say no, understand your place. And I'm saying, no, you understand my place. I understand it.
You know, when it comes to the scripture, we kind of do a disservice to everyone. Because a lot of we go to church, but we don't really understand the word, really, to be honest with you. So when it says to submit, both he and she, going back to your pronouns, right? Both he and she must submit to each other.
Y'all got me warm up in here.
It's a whole
It's the kitchen. It's the kitchen. It's the kitchen. I'm trying to tell you.
We got to submit to each other, and until we do that, then we can't sharpen each other.
Right.
Because now you telling me I just got to sit on the side. So how am I going to help you? You should be helping each other.
Right. Yeah. And I think that is something that we definitely do. Just like the oppressor used the Bible to keep folks in line.
Correct.
There are so many people who have used the Bible to keep folks in line.
And still doing it.
And still doing it. And not researching and saying the whole truth, or even taking on what God is saying in that moment. So it's always been, the wife submit to the husband. But no, there is scripture that says y'all submit one to another. So this whole submission thing don't mean I'm your servant and your flunky.
So listen, the king of the jungle, as they say, is the lion, right? The lion cannot live without the lioness.
He would not eat.
Won't do nothing.
He would get no food. He would starve to death.
He would not eat.
But the lion plays a specific role, right?
Sure.
So we cannot eliminate the lion to elevate the lioness.
Sure.
We got to remember that they are working tangibly together to ensure that kingdom continues to run smoothly.
Right.
So, you know, you said it earlier, and I love it. We should be in the building celebrating each other. But as Black Lives Matter movement has stated, right now, Black people have the issue. So we got to talk about Black lives, because all lives matter. But right now, Black lives taking front stage. And when it comes to our women, it's the same thing. We all matter, but we should also be celebrating our women for the work that they've done. So for me, I'm going to say thank you to all of you. Mr. Scriven, this is not my first show, Mr. Scriven. Listen, I'm telling you, that's how we survive. And Ms. Black said it earlier, it's the mindset. If we have if we are not able to transcend, if we're not able to think on a larger scale, we will perish.
Yeah.
We will perish. So, ladies,
definitely.
I give you all the credit. celebrating you all year round.
I will say this to Francis' credit. He is always on the queen side. Even when JT say something crazy, Francis will be like, I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
That's the mark of wisdom, though. That's the mark of wisdom right there. No woman in his life taught him well.
Francis like, I didn't. No, that wasn't me.
You know, I think that has helped me the most. And I think that's why women should be not afraid to let your light shine, not diminish. Because I had women, I have a great mother, but I also have great aunts, great mentors. So many women have invested in my life. It would be criminal for me not to acknowledge that. And it's kind of hard for me to watch how men do that. Like, don't you got a mama? Don't you got a mama? Don't you got an auntie? You know, somebody along the way has helped. My kindergarten teacher followed me all the way through college. And again, it's the power of women. But when we don't let our light shine, we do a disservice.
Yes.
So it's important for men, young and old, to see that. 30 years of marriage, my wife is talking, hey.
Yeah.
I do want to say that's one of the ministers at New Life.
Oh, yeah.
He learning.
He learned well. So I think the bottom line to this is I think when we were talking about the men and about our role in leadership and women taking the lead or being leaders, it is not, our intention is never to bring a man down. Mm-hmm. It is to get the work done and let's do it together. So it's not that I want to rise above you and be over you and squash you and make you do what I say. Although I do like to have my way, I will.
I mean, sometimes. If we're gonna be honest, I'm just gonna tell the truth and say whatever. Now and again.
Yeah.
Now and again.
You're wrong for that.
I'm just saying.
Every now and again, I just want my way.
Right.
There it is.
Right.
And really, and I want you to be all right with it.
Right.
I want you to want me to want my way.
That's right.
Right. But I believe there's a happy medium to go down if we decide to work on it together. So that's my whole thing. Let's work on it together. You know, let's work on it together. So, France, your mission, should you choose to accept it, go talk to your people.
Well, and I was going to say that, you know, we have men who have to work on this, and it's again a mindset thing, but we also have women who have to work on this.
Sure.
It's a mindset thing for them too. So, you know, like Ms. Scriven stated, the pendulum switch, and now you become the oppressor. So now my voice is not heard.
I ain't say that.
Why? She did not say that.
You said that. That's not what she said.
That is not what she said.
That is not what she said. Just so you put your words in your mouth, friends.
Going back to Lisa, who stated, you know, we're not going to do no women. There's some women who will definitely do what these guys are doing. So on all sides,
but we ain't talking about them right now.
It's all of our mission. Except it's not just me.
Can we stay in celebration mode? Can we just celebrate this?
Because I'm gonna tell you, I celebrate every day. Every day. Got to. We got
oh my goodness, this was like amazing. I love you guys. This is a great show. We definitely gonna have to do this again.
We gotta bring it back.
We definitely gonna have to do this again. Oh my goodness, such a good time, such a good time. We are over our time, which is one of the reasons why I love this virtual site. We're gonna be in trouble, friends, when we have to go back to TV.
I know we come back.
In our box and time frame. We're gonna be in trouble. We're gonna be like, our producer and director gonna be like this. This is how he used to do me. Wrap it up. We're gonna be in trouble. But thank you guys. Thank you, Auntie V, for hanging out with us. Jack and Dot's tax preparation. Thank you. Thank you, Rev. Reverend Scrivens at New Life, Pastor of New Life. Thank you, Dr. Baker, so much. I will say this, Dr. Baker is like my right and my left hand. Like, I don't know how I would survive without her. I called her about 45 minutes for a show and it's like, one of my guests dropped, can you come on? She was like, sure. I was like,
yes.
So thank you guys. I will say that of what I know, women are excellent leaders. We've been doing it since the beginning of time. We will continue to do it. And we just have a good time doing it. I mean, I know I do. And we do it well. But at the same time, it is not our intent to diminish anyone. All of it is just to lift each one of us up higher and higher. So with that said, who run the world? Girls, I'm just trying to say.
Yeah, they do.
That's right. Yeah, we do.
Yes, they do.
All day.
And I'll be along for the ride.
So thank you for joining us on Kitchen Talk. Thank you, Jamal, for hanging out, being my engineer in the background. Appreciate you so much. Thank you, France. Always being here.
Always.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Auntie V. Thank you, Dr. Baker. Thank you, Reverend Scriven.
Absolutely.
Oh my God, we are definitely over time. We will be back here next week, next Thursday, 9:00, same place. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. And then if you are watching us on Facebook, hit that like button. Yes. Follow, like, share, subscribe, do all of that. We are loving every minute of Kitchen Talk, and we hope that you are too. So we will see you next week. Auntie V will be back, hopefully, if she has a moment.
Please.
She'll be back. She'll be back to give us some more updates because I'm sure some stuff will change. Next week, Thursday, 9:00. Appreciate you so much. Good night, everyone. Good night. Good night. Good night.